Good evening and welcome to OPC Season 2. I'm AVRL, joined with me this evening as Pixie as we go into the second half of the evening. And starting things off is going to be Libalent Supreme and Mega.
And, well, with Machi picking up the loss, Mega can kind of rest easy in a sense. They are safe from being in that bottom two, no matter how this one falls. But you certainly wouldn't want this to be the finish to your series, dropping a loss to Libalent. Libalent, on the other hand, still looking to pick up a series win. This is now their last chance to do so.
Mega now looking fairly strong. I mean, all you got to do is look at some of Mega's previous results. They beat AHQ in a 3-2 victory. The same AHQ that Blank just beat to get into the playoffs. So now you have a situation where actually this is still a very difficult match for Libalent Supreme to try and get that final win. But before we get into the match, a couple thoughts from both sides. It's going to be Ryan from Libalent and Apuro from Mega.
台湾で最後の試合になりましたが、日本に帰っても楽しかったなって思えるような試合がしたいと思います。
李昂是说，这是他们最后一场比赛，他们会不留遗憾的全力以赴。
So we're going to give it our all.
What about you?
Today is our last map in OPC Season 2. I hope you guys keep supporting us, and we will see you guys in the next season. Thank you.
欧普头是说，今天呢是他们这个赛季的最后一场比赛，希望大家可以持续的关注他们，他们下个赛季再见了。Thank you guys，我们先握个手。
Much love earned by Mega, I think, over the course of this season and last. Like last is Fireball, like they were kind of a bit of a fan favorite. Like even though they kind of struggled their way along, they were definitely a fan favorite. And actually towards the end started to really pick things up. We're getting some really interesting results to the point where we're sort of going, man, I'm interested to see how this team goes in future. Well, look, in future ended up being them looking to finish off the season in the same place. But you've got to look at the teams that are in this compared to last time around. The only teams they had to beat were Detonator and Sun Sister, right? This time around, they've managed to stay ahead of Machi, who were ahead of them in Season 1. They picked up that upset win against AHQ. They nearly picked up a win in the same fashion against Blank. And now the only one left to beat at the end of this all is going to be Libalent Supreme, something that is very, very achievable for Mega.
Now to meet the teams as well, Libalent Supreme hailing from Japan, the team that made their way through the OPC Season 2 promotion and relegation tournament to even reach Season 2 in the first place. They only got there after beating out Detonator Korea in a close 3-2 grand final, but now at the end of their journey in Season 2, facing their last match up. This is now their final opportunity to get that match win, and unfortunately it has to be said, this is a very similar place, a very similar situation that both Sun Sister and Detonator Gold were in Season 1.
And it's been the unfortunate theme of this team, hasn't it? New team, same Japan. It is a team that really had to work their way in. They earned the spot in the season, but with that spot, they just haven't had the continued success. Let's take a look at the other side of that, though, because, of course, you have Mega, and we did touch on it before. The bones of this team is the previous team Fireball from Season 1 with a bunch of new pickups, new team, new coaches, new everything just about, and they've looked
new
like...
uniform.
Yeah, new uniform actually just recently, but they've looked and played like a brand new team as well, even now starting to pick it up another notch. And that's why I say, you know, you've got to look at the teams that have been in this tournament with them and the results they've had in Season 2 compared to the ones in Season 1. Because the placement on the scoreboard absolutely does not tell the full story. And even then, it tells part of the story because you look at the fact that Machi are now below them where previously they were above them. It speaks to the overall improvement of all the teams in this tournament, and it speaks to Mega's own improvement within that pack. You've got to say, when we see them further on down the line, this is a team that maybe can start shooting for playoffs.
And that's the thing about both sides, though, because even for a team like Libalent Supreme, who haven't had that same meteoric rise, you'd hope to see a little bit more of them. You'd hope to see Japan in general still get some form of representation and to continue improving and to continue, I guess, holding a place in our hearts as well. So.
And that's the thing, right now, Japan just hasn't been able to preserve a team across 2 seasons. Maybe we do see Libalent again in Season 3, but you really don't know. You kind of hope so that they can get the same opportunity that Fireball, who became Mega, got. Because you look at Mega, they made something happen with that opportunity. You could have said, like, okay, Sun Sister, Detonator get relegated. It was just far too easy to see a situation where 2 new teams come in that are fresh, that are brand new. Season 1 was, of course, invite only. You get in 2 teams that just shoot their way up into the standings. And heck, it even happened with Ardian. You could see Fireball going from being the third to last team to just the last place team when 2 new strong teams came in. The fact that it didn't end up being that case because Mega have been able to stay competitive and stay ahead of some of this pack, you want to see Libalent at least get that same opportunity, get the chance to play for longer, play in another season and start improving in their own right, really see what they can do and how far they can go.
Exactly, because it just feels like Libalent have been so close. They've just had some really good moments. Their map record hasn't been the best, but even within that same map record, the maps have been close. They could have easily have gotten some of those extra map wins, but it just wasn't the case. So now, again, one final chance to do that. For Mega as well, got to end the season on a high.
Someone just give Aputo a hug. That's all he wants. He's even staring at his teammate like, really, man? Hi, Aputo. So I think there's like a poetic thing that kind of needs to be realized here. I think Libalent are going to get 1 map win, just so that they end the season with the direct opposite scoreline to Ardiant. And that would mean that...
What, that's how it's got to be?
Yeah, exactly. Like, however many map losses Ardiant have is however many map wins Libalent need to have. So if Flash Wolves are going to take other maps off Ardiant, by the way, that means Libalent need to win more than 1 here. It's very important that they do this.
Enzin and I with the Taiwan hat, by the way, so, you know, I guess...
And Elk just has hair. I like how he's like, he's no I eat you up. Like, he puts the headset over the hair.
Here's the other thing is, you know we've been here for 6 weeks, and for Elk even more because they arrived in Taiwan earlier.
Yeah.
When at the start of the season, Elk had full, like, pinkish hair, and now it's kind of faded a bit because we're deeper into the tournament. It's kind of like with Gumba's beard. It's like, you know the start of the season, the end of season Gumba.
The beard, you finish off with the gun beard. So you start with the gun baby face, and you finish with the gun beard. Oh, man. Well, there you can see them, the whole lineup of Mega. And actually, he had green hair when they did that shoot.
Is that
so
right?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yes, it is right. You can see it.
Well, I don't know. Is it something else? But
Tita looks no different. I just want to say that. Tita looks the exact... In fact, I think that's the only expression he has. Except for that one time he ate the banana. It's the only time I've seen his face move. Maybe V4 will be different.
Oh yeah,
maybe.
Vast.
Apparently each year it's gone up, so maybe in Season 3 we would see Tita V4, but first map pick, rather, it's going to come through, and it's going to be Lijiang Tower. And it is, of course, Libalent Supreme for their final match of the season, going to have the home side here against Mega. They will get themselves map picks 1, 3, and 5, being Control, Assault, and the second hybrid map. Mega, on the other hand, will get the first hybrid and the Escort map picks 2 and 4.
So Libalent Supreme now, the stage is set. They have what is probably the best opportunity now, being on the home side, the extra map picks. If they do get a win somewhere in here as well in terms of maps, we're going to see a 4th map. So again, they're going to get, you know, that's when you're going to really see the extent of how far Libalent Supreme can go, because we've only actually seen this team go to an Escort once.
Once, and only once, and also they didn't win it. Just by the way, they're like, it's like uncharted territory, right? Like if they get
like the opposite, of Ardian.
Maybe they get to Escort, and it's like they've had like some sleeper thing they've been holding on to the whole time.
Turns out they're the best Escort team.
They're actually
the whole competition.
Yeah, the last one was just a fluke. They were just having an off day. Who was that against?
Turns out they're unbeatable on Escort. It's just they don't get there. And that's
what team was that against, actually, that they got the map win? It was against... that's right. That's completely... It was against Flash Wolves. So, yeah, it was an off day. They picked up a win against Flash Wolves. It was an off day. I don't know.
Certainly an off day for Flash Wolves, you might say.
Yeah. I get like, PTSD flashbacks now when we get this... this like opening thing as it slowly moves down the tower.
What I really enjoyed
because of the pause the other day, like and the memory of being stuck on a frozen roller coaster.
What I really enjoyed is when we got the intro for Route 66. This time around we were on the underside rather than on the top side of that rail, so a bit of a different experience.
Yeah, it was. You're right, actually. It was like the thing is you can't go on the underside of this because then you'd just be like inside. All right, which one's gonna? Oh, okay, it's gonna be control center. Thought we were gonna do like the roulette thing again, like which one is it? Which one is it? Which one is it? It's gonna be this one.
They make you a little bit dizzy because it's still on that same rail during the roulette, but now it's going to be control center, as you sort of mentioned. Triple DPS, which has been Mega's calling card so far in the later section of this round robin.
And that means they've got the full swap up as well. They're keeping NZ and on this healer. Happy to stick with that one, and it means they Feel they don't need that Diva in the mix here. Sorry, in the mix here, they want Graceful's damage.
Actually, this is kind of smart. Something I've just considered while we're still in the opening stages is when you're practicing on the new patch, which is what the case is for Mega, this is much better practice because you're not using the Diva.
Libalent are technically the ones on the point. I mean, they nearly actually got a cap through just through sheer time, but at no point were they really ahead in that fight. That's even a Gong, actually, just barely getting Darrington in time, but Mega just had the positional setup around the point. Libalent, by going onto the point, actually kind of stepped into Mega's trap.
And the thing there for Libalent Supreme, actually, is because you have Jasper on the Diva, you technically should be able to I guess, absorb a lot more of that damage from Mega. You're both running soldiers, but you should be able to pump out a lot more damage on your own soldier because Mega aren't running a Diva. They have no Matrix. But instead, it's Mega that gets the picks.
And the ult charge tells a different story, right? Look at this. Dragon Blade already for Graceful. Laputo far closer to that tactical visor. Doesn't help that Pepper's now died twice. Graceful not getting any more than just Pepper for that, but it's still the fight win easily. They get Ryan, who is trying to get some kind of closeout on Graceful, and Libalent are just getting beaten back.
And Mega still in just commanding position because, like you've already mentioned, the ultimate charge is so heavily in their favor after 2 fight wins, one of which was a full team wipe against Libalent Supreme as well. You're now only starting to see the first ultimates for Libalent Supreme come up, and it's interestingly enough going to be the support ones because they've taken so much damage.
It's a pretty good pick on Darrington actually to pump that damage into him. The sound barrier couldn't quite save him. Selene going down as well with the Transcendence means that these DPSs have to get work done, but they are getting it done. Just between the damage and T2, that's Jasper having to take a dive. That's very unfortunate for Libalent because it was actually off to a good start.
That's the other thing is they're not able to convert additional kills here. Yes, you got one, but where are the follow-up kills? For Libalent Supreme, they're not able, as well as not getting able to get the return kills, or rather the conversion kills, they're not getting return kills because you're in a situation where Mega are just consistently ahead even if they lose the first player.
Oh, wow, Darrington, the first pick. Caputo landing the headshot. They want to get aggressive now. Pop it in the Transcendence. They can convert a few more. Have to hide from that self-destruct, which catches T1. Tactical visors out from Pepper and Caputo both, and neither getting anything just yet with both teams having the sound barrier. But this is Mega now into that 90% mark. They will be able to get T2 back in the fight, just willing to set up their position. All they got to do is close out this fight. It's Elk getting pressured out first, though, and this could be Libalent getting the fight when they need. Indeed, the cap goes over even as they lose Darrington. Mega, though, they're not done yet. They come straight back in and convert these kills over. Good bombs and swords and everything. Just absolutely picks Libalent apart. They do get themselves, what, 11% total, but there's no one even here to force the overtime out any further. That's going to be the first map going over to Mega.
Good area control at the front line there with T2 in the Primal Rage, just making sure no one from Libalent Supreme can actually spawn out, get out of that choke point, and make their way onto the camp even. So, all in all, feeling comfortable.
No, stop fighting.
All in all, very comfortable win for Mega.
Kevin, what was that noise meant to be?
That was, I fell off my chair.
That was... yeah, right, okay. I was going to say, is that the sound of you in a fight? Because, like, it may actually work. Like, I'll be honest, if you and I were having a fight, and, like, you made that noise, I'd kind of, like, it would throw me off, right? I would hesitate. I'd be like, oh, hold on.
That's the deep strategy. That is the deep strategy of how you play these fights.
I'd be like, am I like accidentally, like, I don't know, fighting a puppy here or something? Should I not? Yeah. And that would be your opportunity to strike.
Exactly, and this is why I win.
Playing like 4-dimensional space chess here. I'm just having a fist fight.
That's where you go wrong.
Well,
you listen. You learn your lesson.
Kind of what Mega are doing here. They seem to be playing 4-dimensional space fighting. I don't know. But that's the 1-for-1 so far. But honestly, Mega still have the position. Still have all these DPS members to get aggressive as they convert onto Ryan. Losing these supports, though, means the pressure comes out on T2, but it's explosive enough with these DPSs to convert these other kills now as Jasper going to be the final casualty. Has to take a dive as well, and it doesn't matter that Darrington respawned. He can't do anything.
You can tell that Libalent Supreme are trying to speed up these fights a little bit as well because you also don't want a situation where Mega consistently dive on you first, getting Graceful and White into superior positioning, but at the same time, there's just some level of not being able to leverage the defense matrix advantage here to soak up the additional damage from Apuda. They're falling in these fights just extremely quickly. They're consistently able to put Mega into these advantageous positions, and now ultimate's coming out.
Wow, getting the stick in there, and that opening kill is his classic Omnicide as ended and now took down his counterpart. This is just all closeout for Mega.
We've
even got the gong.
We've been here before, and Omnicide is a real word for something. So
is it? What is it?
We looked it up. I can't remember, but we looked it up.
Well, actually, hold on. If you
word.
think of the root of Omni, it means like all or something like that. So like it would be like, or Omnicide would be like killing everything.
Which is kind of what Mega are doing.
Yeah, like
it's
it's still true. They got the Gog, they did it. It was Omnicide. Just happened to be that Celine was also an Omnic and the first casualty, and already off to a good start as well. Getting Pepper out of the picture, and they've got these DPS ultimates. Libalent losing losing Darrington to NZNR, who is absolutely going off, man. Zenyatta, the real carry here.
Yeah, Celine going off the side as well, sleeping with the fishes, if you will. Which
Do
kind of makes sense because they're also like...
Do Omnics dream of electric fish? Do Omnics sleep with the electric fishes?
In this case, currently they do. 72% now in favor of Mega, and they've just barely ulted. I mean, Mega, rather White used the pulse bomb some time ago to collect a couple of kills, but now nearly back online, 6 ultimates, Limit Supreme nearly on 5 themselves. You can expect this to be a pretty big fight, and actually, who can get better mileage out of defensive ultimates should come out on top.
Yeah, it's going to be explosive. You just don't know in which direction will it explode. NZNR's the first casualty, though, didn't quite get that Transcendence out. And now Mega have to convert with these other ultimates that they do still have. And that's Darrington popping the Primal Rage. Jasper has the self-destruct. Graceful pressured out. Good follow-up by Ryan as they close out on a Puto too. And, well, that's the direction it's going to explode in. It's going to be Libalent getting themselves another very late fight win at 99%. I wonder if it'll be a repeat for Mega, though.
Ryan did a really good job there of collecting a lot of kills. Pepper on the backside as well, picking himself up one as well. But Apuro is still saving that tactical visor. So now the thing is for Mega is they actually committed less into that fight. They can come in with more. The fact that they're on 99-0, or rather Liberty Supreme started on 0, gives Mega the chance to reset.
Straight in. Darrington was lying in wait, but he didn't actually get any pincer in. And now this is just kind of a rescue ultimate out of Celine. They do lose a Puto, which means no tactical visor, but they're still getting kills through anyway. Double boot! Elk! Turns out he's the real carry. It was never the Zenyatta, it was truly the Lucio all along. And it's just Pepper, the last casualty of the fight, not going to be able to touch the point. Mega, pretty convincing.
Mega scoreline, Mega win. All in all, I mean...
Just Mega.
Just
a Mega
GA.
And he's going to get the player of the game for it too. He's going to get the player of the game for the double boot that, I don't know, saved the scene. How does this happen? Oh, man.
That was kind of nondescript.
The fact that it was the 2 tanks was actually what was so significant about it, because that's the thing, right? The trade-off should be you don't have that 3rd DPS, but you've got the 2 tanks, you've got more blockage ability, you've got more utility. And when they're both off the table, I mean, not even including the numbers disadvantage that leaves you at, it's also just way harder to shut down that triple DPS. And like, you kind of mentioned the D.Va. Here's the thing, right? Defense Matrix can only point in one direction. When there's 3 DPSs, they can come at you for 3 directions.
That's also true, but the thing about Libalent Supreme is the way you want to play against that is they should be playing for disengages. They should be pulling back when Graceful and White want to dive, and because Aputo is going to be holding back himself, playing the long range game, you can just alleviate a lot of that hit scan damage through good Matrix usage. You're actually better off playing in tight, narrow spaces, which is why in Control Center you kind of expected a better result out of Libalent Supreme, but they just look like they never really punished it was Graceful and never really got White either, and Aputo still had a really good run. So whatever they were doing with their composition, they weren't defensively able to stave off the damage, and that's the win condition of 3 DPS, right? They just really want to get the damage in there, but you have a Matrix.
Exactly, and you've got to really respect the ultimate cycling out of Mega. I mean, it was just really tidy. The fights that Libalent won were when they finally had ultimates banked up, and Mega would withhold a few. They'd be happy to lose the fight, and then they just come straight back swinging off the back of that. They are going to go ahead, pick themselves up Lijiang Tower, 1-0 up in the series. You've got to be pleased with that.
Mega certainly will be pleased with that. Libalent Supreme, a little bit less pleased, though. They're not too sure exactly what went wrong, but to find out what went wrong, let's take a look at this replay. Again, opening fight here for both teams.
And I kind of mentioned this. Mega had a really good setup here. They'd already been pressuring out the DPSs and the backline, which meant the tanks moving in to try and take the ground on the point was never going to work out, right? Because the DPS members were too low to take advantage of the tanks moving forward. They would have died if they'd tried to go in, which suddenly meant actually the tanks didn't have anywhere really to go. They couldn't really pull back anymore because they'd already committed into the fight. And there was the wraparound that came through from the flankers there of Mega, mainly the Tracer and Genji, who could then close out on those members that had got low, knowing that the tanks couldn't come back in and punish them, knowing that they could close out on the supports that were also low, and then it was just cleaning up.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, which, now that we have time to speak about in a little bit more depth, is the fact that Mega are running triple DPS. It suddenly does make a lot more sense because as the current tournament patch is 1.14, and Mega and the rest of the teams will be scrimming on 1.15 on the live patch in their own time, it makes more sense for them to not be playing D.Va when they would be practicing with the new D.Va, not the old one. So if they play triple DPS instead, that practice more easily transfers over to the live tournament play. So
exactly,
it does make perfect sense.
Exactly. And also, I mean, just on top of that, there is the fact that obviously these are the roles they would rather be playing. Because when they did have the D.Va, there was a time when they were running White on it, they've had Graceful on it, they've kind of, you know, moved things around quite a lot, shifted things up, but bringing White into that DPS, moving in ZNR onto the support, and having Graceful in as that flex, who sometimes does still pull out the D.Va when they need it, but they tend to steer clear of it. Sometimes instead he'll be on the Zarya if they're running that kind of composition. We're just not really seeing any D.Va at all, and it's one half, like you said, Dan, the other half has just been these later role swaps that have really helped this team just get that last little bit of progress.
Let's take a look at the next replay now. We're on to Gardens for this one again, the opening fight. So really pay attention to the movements from White getting that nice flank around the backside, and it is a very aggressive push in from the Mega side, and just a really split defense. I gotta say defense here, because it feels like Libalent Supreme are defending this, and now they just get routed.
And the thing is, like, they get the kill on Apudo, and it was smart because Apudo's upfront damage on Control Center had been a lot of what set the tone of the fight, had been a lot of what disallowed Libalent from making any kind of moves. But the thing that doesn't pay respect to is the fact that it was the damage from Apudo to start it off, but it was actually Graceful and White flanking around doing the damage on the sides, and they still did that damage on the side. Like, Apudo was out of the picture, sure, but Graceful and White just won their respective 1v1s anyway. We're still killing the supports. We're still kind of pulling the carpet out from underneath the tanks that were trying to get something done on the front line.
Yeah, so still, once again, it's Libalent Supreme, A, unable to find initiation and get that initiative, and B, just unable to mitigate the damage output of this triple DPS. And we've said multiple times, when it comes to triple DPS, it feels explosive in good and bad ways. You just don't have a health pool and sort of in total on that side, so you can do a lot of damage, but you can also get killed really easily. So that's why you expect more return kills. You expect Libalent Supreme, if you're going to lose, you're taking down a lot of Mega members with you, because they don't have Matrix and they don't have good health.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, you've actually got to take advantage of the explosiveness. Like, the way we say it even more specifically is it's going to explode. It's either going to explode in your face or in their face. And if you're up against it, you want to make sure it's not exploding in your face. You want it to be backfiring constantly. But it's going to have to be on King's Row that Libalent make it backfire for Mega. And that is, of course, if Mega pull out that triple DPS. I would expect it. But at any rate, King's Row is the pick for the... Oh my goodness, this is so nauseating.
Well, you're not seeing it from his point of view, so it's a little bit less nauseating.
I don't think I can handle that. Let's go back to something that we've still got to keep mentioning time and time again. This is actually the map that Libalent did beat Flash Wolves on. It was a different time and place, slightly different meta as well. And Mega now, with these later change-ups, they've got the triple DPS, they've got all those tank comp options they can run. You've still got to feel they're looking good coming into this, but if it's going to happen anywhere for Libalent, you've got to feel it'll start happening here.
The other thing is, it's interesting you mentioned the flex pickups for this Mega side, because when you get to maps like King's Row, this is when you can expect Graceful to be picking up the Zarya potentially. You can expect Tidawat to go back to the Reinhardt as well.
Oh wait, that's Graceful.
So the other thing is, in terms of what White's going to be playing, he's going to have 3 heroes in the pocket here. It's going to be Tracer, Widowmaker, or it's going to be the McCree. And he actually had a really good Widowmaker. I can't remember which exact map it was on. I'm thinking Watchpoint Gibraltar in a previous matchup for Mega. But White's Widowmaker was insanely good.
That little tile of the 6 players was like very reflective of the personality of all of the members of this team. And by the way, hey, the gasp I made was I thought that Tidawat was like doing something with his eyebrows, turned out it was just Graceful. I was like, oh my god, Tidawat's making an expression. But no, it wasn't Tidawat at all. That's alright though. Apudo more than makes up for Tidawat's lack of expression.
Apudo's makes up for all 6.
Apudo's got the personality of 6 men. And it just so happens that the rest of the team also have really big personalities too. Like, if you've ever actually chatted to these guys, like, Elk is a really funny guy. Like, they're all really, really interesting guys. Like, I don't know, you've got to remember the Tidawat banana thing. Like, man, there's actually more personality than team on this team.
Especially the interactions between some of them. Like Pudo and White's got to be the one that's really funny.
It's the thing. It's like it's easy to see why these guys have become fan favorites just from that perspective, right? Like they're a hard team to not like, and when they're starting to get more and more results to kind of back it up, this is a team that you're always happy to support, really. And look, you got to go back to that thing of like, it's going to be their second, sixth place finish, no matter how this match ends up going. They want to walk away with a win for their final game of the season, but like, if you are a Fireball fan and now a Mega fan, like you're always going to get rewarded one way or another.
So what you're saying is Mega are marketable.
Mega are marketable, folks. You heard it here first. Well, it's going to be Libalent who have to become marketable on their push here. And that's going to be the Widowmaker out to do it as well. Let's see how Mega choose to defend this, because they're actually still opting into the same triple DPS.
Oh, it's going to be Libalent Supreme, going to need to make those sales happen, and so far, Graceful, he's not a happy buyer.
No, he's really, he's like, taking
Return
that,
to sender.
taking exactly that. Now he wants to get rid of Jasper too. Not quite going to get the close out there, won't get the route either. Pepper instantly changes off. Just by the way, like you can still get deflect headshots on a McCree. Graceful, man, he's not happy with any of the products he bought.
The other thing is you can get deflect flashbangs, so you see exactly where the outplays might come from here. But Libalent Supreme now, with the full reset, you're looking to see where they can set up, because so far, going into the Alderworth Hotel, they unfortunately kind of get stuck in there sometimes.
Yeah, good charge up though to top Darton back off, but as he gets slept, the dive is able to come in, and this time it's going to be harder to top his health off. They've committed the nano boost. Good catch on T2, and they need to convert more. Mega a little low. They need this triple DPS to do the work. Apudo still raining fire from above, gets Jasper. Now they just need to get a little bit more. They lose White, but they trade out for Pepper. Libalent have the closer respawns though, so Mega are going to need to get just a bit more than this. Nice wrap around on Darton, threading the needle with the rocket. Now Apudo with the tac visor can commit hard, already has Ryan down. They were happy to just force the other members of Libalent back. It allows Mega to regroup and regain their position.
And actually, Apudo might not even have had to need to use the tactical visor there as well. Libalent Supreme already onto the retreat, already looking to back up, and actually the strength for Libalent was actually Jasper. He had a high charge on his Zarya so far, received the nano boost, but just couldn't catch Apudo, couldn't get any further targets. And now speaking of catching,
yeah, straight in and not catching a flashbang either. Graceful does it to back out though, because he catches a bit of damage, as does T2. Good close out. White trades one back, but it's actually not going to be enough this time around unless Apudo pulls out something crazy. And you got to wish you had that tactical visor now, maybe. Do lose Keisuke, but he's going to be able to get back into it. Pepper still not actually quite dying as the kills still come up. Libalent. Now Apudo, she goes down. I was going to say he has to pull back, but he goes down, and that actually means staggered kills now on the side of Mega.
And the thing is, he does pull back, but unfortunately not in the way that he wants. Ryan sends him back instead with 4 minutes and 4 seconds remaining now. The good stagger kills will kind of delay Mega's setup here on the defense. They're not even at the second camp just yet. Now only starting to make it into streets, and Libalent Supreme, they can really kind of maneuver themselves around to make the best of this time.
And they're just trying to find a nice angle for a Deadeye. Need to make sure that their watch is set right though. Like you don't want to claim that the time is one thing and be wrong. Instantly losing Selene though as the fight breaks out, and they weren't actually ready to get these ultimates used. They lose a ton of members here, not willing to commit any resources. You can at least respect that, but if they had just been a bit more proactive, they could have committed those ultimates and possibly got themselves a win.
And they needed to be proactive, right? Because they have the ultimate advantage here. By losing their fight, they give ultimates onto the other side. So you were in the advantageous spot, but now Mega have caught up to you. That's a big problem for Libalent Supreme. They actually still can commit here. Again, there's no Diva, there's no Matrix. You should feel much safer about the Graviton Surge. Just hope that Graceful doesn't deflect it.
They're checking their flanks for these members here, notably Apudo and White. That is going to be the Graviton. They still lose a couple of members anyway, because Apudo, he was actually just on the front side of them. And now Libalent, despite committing those ultimates, haven't got anything more for it. Lose Ryan late in it and Pulse Bomb onto Darton. They committed those ultimates, but they just didn't get any mileage.
Speaking of late kills, though, Jasper going down super late there and losing the energy. This is the problem sometimes when you do run a Zarya. By the way, Graviton Surge went out there, didn't get enough done at all. Good response by Mega, and this is all the result of the fact that because Libalent Supreme didn't play proactively a couple fights before, Mega got the ultimates and they countered.
I call it the crippling depression play, because you lose all your energy. That may be a little bit too real for some people, actually. This is going to be the aggression now. Good Earth Shatter into the Deadeye. That's the kind of moment they've been like, hey, yo, headshot onto a Fudo. Can you say play the game? Gets Graceful too. No deflect to come through on that shot. That is exactly what Libalent had been needing to get this one underway. Mega, this time around, didn't have the resources to turn it back around.
And for lore reasons, I would really like it that even on night maps, it suddenly turns into daytime and the sun comes up into midday
instantly
during the Deadeye. But then as soon as Deadeye goes back, then it's back to nighttime.
I want to see an English gentleman McCree skin where he says it's high tea. Nope, all right, that's just me then.
No,
well, this time it's wow, I'm crushed. Well, it's Graceful getting in, and like Graceful is quite a British gentleman sort of name, like Graceful, I can see that. And he's really going toe-to-toe with Pep here for that Player of the Game honor.
You'll be disappointed because he's Swedish, so.
Oh, thanks for clarifying that.
That's okay.
The Swedes like their tea though, from what I understand.
Oh, that's all right.
I don't know enough about Sweden and like their cultural habits. I know that they don't. I think it's Norway they don't really like. Maybe it's Finland. No, it's one of the two. It's like they got like an Australia-New Zealand thing, you know. Like they kind of hate each other, but it's also like, don't you say anything mean about my little brother sort of thing, right? Only I'm allowed to be mean to them. But it's Pepper getting mean to the Swede of Mega. They're looking to just get these extra closeouts, need to find Elk in that, but he's able to get himself topped off. But Libalent still have legs in this fight. A little bit harder with losing Ryan, but they've got the Deadeye. If Pepper can just find a good angle on it, has to wait out that Transcendence, but they've lost some extra members now, makes it a little bit harder. They might just have to back out of this one. Indeed, they do.
Running out of time as well now, 23 seconds remaining, waiting still for this Earth Shadow Darting to come online. Jasper having changed to the Diva a couple fights ago, now still not just really finding anything. Libalent Supreme running out of options and running out of more time.
Is Sweden the one with Lutefisk? Is that even how you say it?
I know wouldn't be the one to ask.
It's spelt like Lutefisk, but it's going to be Graceful getting aggressive. Good flashbang though, that's the one they need. They still lose KCK. They're going to lose these other members if they're not careful. Pepper still can't channel a Deadeye, and it's harder to channel it when you're dead. Entered and not even getting slain. Good charge in onto Graceful, but Darrington is instantly going to lose his life anyway. And the sound barrier, just to give these last few members the last few moments, they need to kill the last few members of Libalent Supreme. Pepper going to try and make a mad dash forward on the Doomfist, but there may be no one there for him to reinforce, and indeed as KCK goes down, does not look like Pepper will get close enough. 109 is the final distance, and that is what Mega are going to have to beat.
You saw some moments of magic there, specifically from Pepper on the McCree as well. He got a double kill with the Deadeye. Electric Cowboy was because he had the nano boost as well, but then a situation where you know, he continued that with headshots, so he actually got a couple of extra trades on top of that. So after that though, nothing from the McCree, and he had another Deadeye, and it just wasn't enough.
I like how you say moments of magic, because now I'm envisioning a McCree skin that's like McCree the Magnificent, and it's like, and now for my next trick, I will make the team disappear.
So what happens is, in that skin, when he uses the Deadeye, instead of players diving, they just turn into rabbits.
Yeah.
Rabbit,
and instead of, and the alt line, he's like, is this your high noon? I don't know. I was watching a lot of Penn and Teller yesterday. It was really enjoyable. If you've never watched Fool Me with Penn and Teller, it's incredible. I was full. I was very consistently full. I don't know how.
Oh, they got me again.
Yeah. The problem is I'm way too easy to impress with magic. Eh? Like, you could do the most simple thing, right?
I could pull a coin from behind.
You can pull a coin. You can pull a coin from your wallet and I'd be impressed. I'd be like, where did that come from?
Because who carries?
Exactly, who carries cash? What if that's the way you do it? You go onto Penn and Teller Fool Us, and you just pull a coin from your wallet. They're like, whoa! What are the odds, man? What are the odds? I don't know how we got a coin in there in the first place. I don't think it would work. Just by the way, I don't think that would actually work. Don't try that, you'll embarrass yourself on television. Oh well, it's gonna have to be a bit of magic for Libalent Supreme to get good defense here. A first hold actually isn't out of the question, and I actually do want to say, where that payload ended up getting stopped up wasn't too far off where Flash Wolves ultimately stopped up Libalent Supreme when they had their map, which they then beat Flash Wolves on. So having a defense forward at that point isn't unheard of for this team, actually.
That has to be where you go back to. You have to go back to the fact that they beat Flash Wolves on King's Row and what really worked for this team. And you know, that's about it, because other than that, they haven't had any map wins. And if they're going to get a map win tonight, or even threaten to have a match win, which is starting to look less and less likely as the night progresses, you do have to tap into where Price success was.
Yeah, exactly. You've also you got to match audience map losses. Like, you've got to bookend this tournament, right? Like,
I can't believe Blank have now put Libalent Supreme in this position.
I mean, for goodness sake, Blank.
If only Blank didn't win that Ilios against Ardian, then Libalent Supreme would not now have to try and match
How
that.
dare you, Blank? I got a question for you, Kevin. What tea do you have right now? So I went with the green tea and peach, and it's really good. I would recommend it.
I got the McCree High Tea.
Do you know what high tea is?
No, I don't.
It's like a meal. It's like a meal where you drink tea and you have a lot of like cakes and things and like shortbread. It's quite a fancy thing to do. Speaking of fancy things, you want to hear a joke? You'll like this one. Right, knock knock.
I'm liking this a lot less already.
Off to a great start. Come
enjoying
on.
this a lot.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Two.
To who?
To whom?
Oh, you already heard this one. You've done this already.
Ah, gets me every time. Well, look, you got to stay fancy, man. It's King's Row. I can't actually physically lift this mug while keeping my pinky in the air. Like, it's too bulky. It'd be kind of dangerous. Like, I don't want to drop it, but it's like, kind of strains my wrist. Like, I'll get cramp. It'd be a really unfortunate way to get wrist cramp. I would feel so old if I got wrist cramp from trying to drink a drink. It's hard to be fancy.
And look, pro players get that from practicing too many hours a day, but yours is just from drinking tea.
I've got it hard.
It's like-
I've got it because it's like
That's one way to go
The
down.
thing is, you can choose to not play video games, but I can't not drink tea. It's like I don't get a say in this, right? I have the harder life here, ultimately.
Yeah, you're the guy that still keeps Dilma in production. I mean,
I'm the only guy. I'm the only one.
the only dude
buying Dilma products. I just own like a warehouse of Dilma tea. That's a good hook onto NZNR, though. That's a nice way to start this one off. And we were kind of saying it before. The ideal situation here, really, for Libalent is to get a first-point defense.
so far, oh, that's a good catch on
2-2.
White, actually. So now Libalent are in a position where they can hold on to this, maybe forcing Mega back for the time being. Apudo might even decide this isn't the best pick from. There's a couple of tanks that he just doesn't want to deal with here. His ideal target has to be Pepper.
I still never actually found out what flavor of tea you had, but White able to get the shot onto Pepper. That's exactly what you were just saying there. Not too bad. They need to get a little bit more than just that. Trying to pressure out Ryan too deep, trying to find these members up on the high ground. Now Mega kind of have this one a little bit more opened out. Jasper low down with the Venom Mine. Little unfortunate.
Took a breather of the wrong thing.
Exactly. Took a breather of cyanide. That's going to be Libalent kind of beaten back from this one. They do maybe have an opportunity to get in for a contest if they don't lose any members here. Picking T1 as well really helps to that end. Lose Pepper, but they can still get on this. They need to respect the sightline of Apudo, but they commit in with the nano boost on Darrington. Apudo kind of having to get onto the point itself so he can reposition, and in that beat they lose NZNR. This is actually not looking too shabby for Libalent as they close out a White with that whole hog. Going to be beating back these last few members of Mega if they can keep this one up.
You're thinking now for Graceful, maybe he has to pull out the blade for this. Let's get the kill on the Jasper. Returned by Pepper though, so Libalent Supreme at every juncture are just not looking like they're out.
They're just not quite, and honestly, they're really starting to show up, getting all these kills. Mega getting a little scattered and overextended, nearly actually closing out the fight in spite of that, but ideally could have just pulled back a little earlier. They do still have plenty of time, though, to get this final third.
And Libalent Supreme are not going to have the same situation to buffer those two picks anymore. Those are now gone. Every single fight here really matters. They have to stay onto the cap, or it's going to go over to Mega.
Well, that's going to be the big aggress out of Mega.
Deflect sleep.
That's the good deflect sleep, and they get the kills they need. Graceful didn't even get anything with the Dragon Blade, but they don't even need it. They just got the damage out of all the rest of these members. Who's even the last person on the point? Well, doesn't matter too much because they're not going to last long. Payload underway, and now Libalent 4 whole minutes that they've got to hold for.
And that's a full team wipe as well. Now, this is going to be a full reset. Libalent Supreme coming in slightly late for this. Mega going to have the superior positioning, the early setup on this offense, and Apudo, most importantly, gets the best angles.
He's got the best angles, it's true. Everyone knows it. Flash Wolves know it.
Welcome to Apudo's.
HQ know it.
Welcome to
Libalent are
Apudo's,
about to know it.
Angles Emporium on 22nd.
We've got all the best angles. We've got acute angles. We've got obtuse angles. We've got all the angles you could ever need. Well, they're going to need to utilize all of those angles, and that's the one onto Pepper. Good Earth Shatter, but they can't get follow up from it. It's Graceful going off on the back line here. Even gets Darren for good measure. Keisuke too. He wants to get the full 5 if he can. Can't quite get any more just now, though. Ends in an kill steal. And another one.
That one was definitely his, though. That one was fully deserved and fully claimed by the one and only Inzana as the car does continue to push on through. Now 3 minutes and 4 seconds remaining. Still plenty of time considering that they only need to push towards that rectangle right in front of the infra site now out for Apudo as well. Libalent Supreme, they're not even set up for this. They need to get to that B site now.
And that's the last angle that Mega need here. They just need that rectangle. There we go. Just under 3 meters. All they need is the one last fight with another one out of Inzana. This is already going very sour for Libalent. They do have the trade kill on Graceful, though. They could just get a few more. They could maybe stabilize, but they're losing members. White's just constantly beating them back, and T-Watt has the wraparound stopping any retreats. Keisuke going to drop down on the point, and Pepper the last casualty. That is the cap through, and Mega all the angles all the time.
And well-deserved victory once again, and it just comes down to the fact that Libalent Supreme, they couldn't get it over the line. They couldn't complete that defense. A had some good moments. They had a really good fight where they blocked out Mega, even despite the fact that Mega looked like they already had the cap. Had 2 ticks already gone, Libalent Supreme came in. Pepper went off again on the McCree, and just these small moments for Libalent Supreme that really shine, that really look good, but you need more of those moments, and you need them consistently.
Well, and there you had it. It was Graceful who got the play of the game, and I want to get a little specific on that because, like, we've talked a bit about the triple DPS. We've talked a bit about what each of the members have sort of done, but I really want to zero in on Graceful there. He has been so good on this Genji. Really instrumental on actually both Lijiang Tower and now King's Row, and with that, they've picked up themselves the 2nd map win in a row. They do go back to Libalent's pick for map number 3, but you gotta say, Mega are just looking good tonight.
I think they've been looking good for most of the second round robin. And, you know, some of the early questions about this team in the second round robin was what's happening with the roster, what's happening with the role swaps and stuff like that. White came out out of nowhere suddenly onto the Tracer. Inzana, who is doing pretty good on the Tracer, now onto the support. And we're thinking, is this going to work? Is this the Mega that they've been willing to pull out? And by the way, that happened overnight, and now they're proving that, yes, this is the real deal.
The real deal indeed. And let's go ahead and take a look at some replays, see how the real deal played out. It's the best deals anywhere at Apudo's Angles Emporium. He was actually the first casualty for their side in that fight, but you see where the fight's happening. It's a long way away from the payload. They're doing a really good job here, Mega, of keeping the scrap away from that. So by the time Libalent are getting to the payload, they're a little bit separated out, right? It's Jasper who has to kind of dive for it. Ryan was busy closing out on T-Watt. By the time he's in the fight, Jasper's not there anymore. It makes it really easy for Mega to surround and just finish off Ryan. Basically, same deal with Keisuke. You can't really keep yourselves alive when you're just those 2 guys. So even though they got some good early picks, even though they ran roughly even, because of where Mega were taking the fight, they got enough kills to justify taking it there. They were always going to be able to reinforce that point quicker than Libalent could really overwhelm it. And at no point did Libalent even have the numbers to overwhelm it.
And it just seemed, you know, for Libalent Supreme, a lot of the times, even when they were ahead in fights where you expected them to have the advantage, they weren't able to close fights out. And I think one of the earlier ones was on their own attack, if I'm not mistaken, there, where they had this kind of a decent team wipe, a lot of late kills. Apudo died really late on his own retreat.
Yeah.
And it was a case of this needs to be where Libalent Supreme make their mark. This needs to be where they start snowballing. And it just wasn't the case. They were never proactive and they paid for it.
Exactly. It was like the first fight off the cap, right? They had all those ultimates up, but like you said, no proactivity. And well, that plus some other fight failures ended up costing them King's Row.
And now we're in the situation where Libalent Supreme still yet to pick up their first match win, still yet to pick up a map in this series, and they may not even be able to do that, but we're going to have to find out exactly who is able to achieve what after this break. Thank you for sticking through that break with us as we now approach the third map in the series between Libalent Supreme and Mega, and it's coming up right now. It's going to be Temple of Anubis.
Well, that's where Libalent want to take it to, and it's their last chance to pick up what will be their only second map win. And this is... Go back to bed. Okay, there we go. That was the normal way of doing it. This is... That was really stressful to see, man.
That was Kerry's in the series of AHQ versus Blank, by the way.
I hear that's
landing every sleep dart.
I hear that's what basic training is like. Like they're constantly waking you up and like at all weird hours, making you go back to sleep whenever they feel like it.
Just yell at you,
go
back to sleep.
You know, go back to sleep.
You're like,
you gotta
yes,
sleep.
sir, I'm going.
You gotta sleep while they're yelling. And then they'll throw a grenade at you just to keep you on your toes.
Jeez.
Yeah, man.
A grenade.
It's a hard life. It's a hard life.
But not a live one. It's a non-live one.
It's a non-live one.
So it's just a blunt force trauma.
It's like pre-recorded. It's not live.
Yeah, exactly.
Pre-recorded grenade.
Yep.
Just makes the explosion sound. Everyone's fine. In all seriousness, not seriousness about basic training. I don't have enough to say about that. I do have a lot to say about Temple of Anubis though, because like I said, last chance now for Libalent to pick up a map win here. Last chance as well to turn it around, to turn it maybe into a reverse sweep, get their first series win of this tournament. But honestly, for Mega here, they would be happy to pick this one up, get the 3-0 and go out in style. Libalent, on the other hand, that would be about as heartbreaking a finish as possible.
Yeah, it would certainly be very difficult, especially if you don't mirror Ardian directly. You would also lack the symmetry in the standings, and that would hurt more than anything else.
It's the thing, like you couldn't even say like, we helped the standings thematically.
It gets worse because we haven't seen Ardian play yet tonight. So
yeah, that's the thing.
If Ardian drop another map, then... You also have to anticipate that.
Exactly. That's what I was saying at the start of the series. This is important. You could win the map, and it still wouldn't be enough. Maybe you need to win more. And maybe that would be the predictor. Like, maybe they win 2 maps, and that means that Ardian are going to lose 2.
So the prediction is, if Libalent win 0, then Ardian also lose none. I don't know.
Yeah, well...
That's how it
no,
works.
because they still need to win 1. Otherwise, it wouldn't be tied.
Well... I guess.
This is just stressful. This is really stressful.
This is harder to understand than the tiebreaker.
Yeah. The tiebreaker was arcane. Like I've never struggled with simple addition so much in my life. The numbers, what do they mean? It's gonna be a Widowmaker on the attack now out of Pep. Something that has worked well so far, but speaking of working well, Pudo on the Sombra.
This is good early positioning by the Mega side. You can see the fact that they're positioned aggressively. This is how they're going to take advantage of Apudo and rather graceful being on this Genji pick. I say Apudo because usually he's the Genji.
Well, they are going to close out on Pepper, but they're going to lose a lot of members while that's happening. So actually, Libalent have really kind of got the one up on Mega right now. Graceful only just starting to move towards the fight. Still got to kind of wait for the rest of his team to regroup so that they can properly get in. They need to not lose anyone. Should be able to go for a last moment contest here.
And so far, 1/3 already gone though, so good progress. Even if Libalent Supreme drop the fight now, they can be happy with that cap.
I mean, you kind of want to get the full cap given how well that went to start with, but that's Jasper losing his mech as they lose Pepper as well, and Apudo staying alive with that EMP. They might be able to commit that to close out. Selene going down, and it is the trade, but now Libalent are the ones starting to lose more members. You've got to imagine they had that point there for that moment there. They should have been a little more set up, and losing Ryan now as the last man who was on the point. That is rough for Libalent.
Just shy of the 2/3 as well at 59.6%. Libalent Supreme going to come back in with just 1 ultimate, maybe 2 of Ryan could get the pulse bomb as well, but they got to fight into an EMP. That's going to make things extremely difficult. Selene does have the opportunity to make an outplay here if he can survive the EMP, if he can stay out of the range of the EMP. This is Libalent Supreme's opening.
The thing is though, Selene is to kind of be a priority target for the EMP. Trying to get the hack onto Darren, and that is going to be the EMP out. They instantly catch Jasper in that one and convert. That's the Transcendence to come out, but they've lost Jasper's mech, and they've lost Ryan already, and now no more Transcendences. Mega can just kind of pack on the pressure. Graceful. Trying to get another play of the game, it seems. What maybe didn't need to commit the Primal Rage, but it secures the fight, so they may as well.
The thing there for Libalent Supreme was they had the right idea, but a poor execution. Losing 2 members before the Transcendence comes out. The EMP dropped down. That's the first part of the play. Selene, he didn't get caught by the EMP. Apudo didn't actually find him at all. So Selene got the Transcendence, but again, if you don't save your members, it doesn't do anything.
Libalent do have a good few ultimates coming into this fight though. That just could be all they need to work with here. The self-destruct can create the space. Pulse Bomb did unfortunately go wide. I don't know, they need to find a good way in. Losing Jasper though as he flew out the self-destruct didn't really get enough space either, nor could they really capitalize on it. Now, even in losing T to what it is, Libalent not ideally set up on this point. White's looking to come in for the wraparound. They've still got the ultimates to commit here, Mega. The sound barrier coming out of KCK gets responded to. Second, third, I believe, actually not quite getting capped up. Now finally going over, but Mega is still very much in this one. Still want to try and close this one out now. They've got the Pulse Bomb still on White. Ooh, just barely gets caught in the defense matrix. Libalent have kind of pulled back for the time being as the EMP came out. Need to find a way back onto this point now as T2Watt with the respawn looking to pile on the pressure into this little back room. Forces out the Transcendence now from Selene. That's their window to get back on the point. Libalent, they're still fighting this one on the wrong side. If it does go south, they're not going to be able to back out, and they're not going to have enough time to come in for a second round.
This is going to be an all-in commit, but so far they are picking up a couple of kills in the back end, and now the return kills from T2Watt now.
Oh boy, yeah, that's huge for them, and just shy of Darriton's own Primal Rage. T2Watt is going to be the one looking to get player of the game if he can help it. Some late kills though may just help Libalent Supreme. They get one last shot.
First time seeing Jasper onto the Genji as well, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe the last time, because he does go down with only 15 seconds remaining. He'll just come back in alive, but Libalent Supreme got to get themselves into this cap very soon. They only have to cap 1/3, so it's fully doable, but they need the picks to make it happen.
Fighting into an EMP again and coming in a little scattered already. It's going to be a commit out from Aputo. Getting straight onto these members. Darriton already low despite the Primal Rage. They do trade that one though, but they're just losing the members. Wow, not able to convert. Pepper Whole Hog gets instantly shut down. Couldn't even get the damage through that Transcendence anyway. And Jasper now the last man there because he was the last man to get there. And wow, 88% is all Mega have to beat to close it out.
And a Whole Hog turns into a no hog if Aputo has anything to say about it. And that's an unfortunate situation for Libalent Supreme to be in their final match and potentially their final map of OPC Season 2. 6 weeks of gameplay has led to this. This might just be how it ends for the team. And for Mega, they'll be happy to take the win.
A 1/16th hog. Very small fraction of hog.
Yep.
Certainly not enough hog.
I'll tell you what, I'll give them a 2/3 hog, because that's about the progress they got in the
A solid 2 out of 3 hog.
Yep.
The thing is though, even a half hog,
88%.
even a half hog may have been enough damage to help at least. But well, it didn't. 88%. That's what Mega have to beat. And like you said, last map potentially for both of these teams in this tournament. Mega, they want to go out with a bang, and Libalent want to go out with more than just a whimper. Hello.
And that guy agrees.
He's like, yes.
So the final boss happens when you get to the end of the map, you can't B, and then the sarcophagus opens, and it's a big, gigantic mummy.
It comes alive, and then actually, you and the other team have to team up. It's like a raid boss.
Yeah, it is.
It's a raid boss at the end of all that. Man,
It's one of those hidden things
sick.
into the game. Hidden things into the game. It's like, it's like when you get to the end of Eichenwald, and King Baldric wakes up
Yes,
as a
exactly.
Mega Reinhardt.
Or it's like the dancing robot on Volskaya eventually crosses over the water and like attacks Volskaya Industries. It goes rogue.
What actually happens is, much like Power Rangers, parts of each dancing robot fit together into one bigger dancing robot.
It's even bigger, and you know what? It's got all new dance moves.
Yeah, this one does capoeira.
I mean, sure, I was going to say something like break dancing, but
Nah, capoeira is harder.
I guess, sure. I don't know. Have you ever tried break dancing? It ain't easy.
I don't think any of them are easy.
None of the dances are easy. I don't know, man. The Charleston's pretty simple. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one, though, because Mega wanting to match what Libalent themselves did and go, here's how it's done. They're also starting off still on the triple DPS, running that Genji. Let's see how it goes. Oh, there's a shot.
And you know what the best part about this is? This may be the final chance for Mega to... This is the final showing potentially for Mega in the OPC, so, you know, do something different here. Elk onto the Widowmaker, why not? T2Watt playing the Lucio, why not? Graceful on the Winston again, why not?
They do lose a Pudo, though, why not? Trying to get the aggression on. They're just not getting these picks through, actually a little overextended now as they couldn't close out those kills. So actually getting beaten back. 2 headshots actually for Ryan there. It's the EMP up now for Libalent. They're actually set up nicely enough that they could hold out here.
And so far, and now with the EMP as well, they can really snowball that into an even better defense, charge up the rest of your ultimates, use that as the ult battery against the Mega squad, because actually for Mega,
Much better.
looking for some opening, but it's hard to find one. Elk just has to get some good headshots. If he can take down Selene before the EMP comes out, that's Mega's opening.
It's going to have to be the idea when Elk just really fishing for him. He's got the good sightlines, but Mega need to take advantage of it. Good catch on Ryan. There's the EMP out. They lose Selene, though, and all they got so far is NZ and R. Elk just sort of ducking back down for a moment so that no one can get aggressive. They close on Darrington. Pepper in a lot of trouble, and now Jasper's kind of alone on the point. Gets absolutely drilled down as a Voodoo, able to dive on the backside to find Pepper. Dragon Blade with no targets, all dressed up with nowhere to go. It's only Jasper in the mech. They're just throwing everything at this one guy because they know that's the only guy they have to beat. NZNR now is out on a soldier. This is what, quadruple DPS? They've only got T1 as the healer. They're already 2/3 up. It's looking like it's going to happen. Darrington in now for the last stall. Drops instantly. Too much damage. Pepper now and Keisuke both, but Pepper's dead and Keisuke follows him to the grave. And that, folks, is that.
Unfortunately, Keisuke right in the end there as the last member of the welcoming party for Mega as they take over Temple of Anubis. The final map of the final match for both teams. That's got to be a send-off.
And it is T2 earning himself that play of the game. It'll be the Primal Rage in the very far room of this. Yeah, here we go.
By the way, this is a nice micro play here because there's a pulse bomb that gets put down by White, and T2 keeps, I believe it was Pepper, contained in that room.
You're actually,
came down.
You're actually quite right. I think that was at a separate point, but at any rate,
he did do that.
He did do that too. That's the thing. But look, on the whole, Mega, it's a nice send-off for the season, to be honest. They picked up some real shake-ups throughout this, had some incredibly solid performances against the top teams, even though they couldn't quite make the wins happen at certain junctures. But this is a team whose ceiling is still so far above them. The potential has yet to be truly reached, and they will be able to return now for Season 3. Maybe next time around, they will make a solid bid for playoffs. I guarantee the competition will be stiffer than ever before, but if there's one thing Mega have proved, it's that they will always be able to keep pace.
You only have to look at the evidence of their best of 5 series against both Blank and AHQ, the one they beat AHQ specifically, to know exactly how far this team could go and still will go.
There you have it, taking what will be their final bow of the season, and a bow they can take with some pride. Libalent, on the other hand, they do not get themselves a bow. Got no bows this season, no handshakes either, unfortunately. Only that one map win, and that may just be the legacy that they leave behind, because being that bottommost team, there is always the risk that they just don't make it back. This team is better than Sun Sister and Detonator both, who got relegated at the end of Season 1. Maybe they do make it back, but it's going to be a really hard-fought one if they do.
And now the stage is set for the final 2 teams, which will be coming up pretty soon. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves just yet, because still, I guess, a couple of things to talk about on this side, which is pretty much the fact that, you know, Libalent Supreme, across the whole of the season, I think it's now good to note their entire performance across the board. And you kind of said this and started things off already by saying, look, better than Sun Sister and better than Detonator Korea. But you do wonder, maybe in a future season, how far this team could go. Graceful picking up the player of the game as the Genji.
And we mentioned it during the game anyway. I mean, Graceful's Genji was phenomenal. This triple DPS has just done something else for Mega. Mega, who were already looking good, who had already made so many improvements over the season, and it seemed with every roster change, with every adjustment, they just got better and better. Now, in what has seemed to be their final iteration of the roster, we still haven't seen how far they can go, and it's just looked better and better every single time. So, again, you've got to go back to that same thing. They can come back now in Season 3, and you've got to wonder how far they'll be able to go with that. On the other side of that, Libalent, you almost hope to see them back in Season 3, because really, there's even less revealed about that team. At least with Mega, we've seen a little bit of how far they'll be able to go, and we can assume that they'll be able to make it further. But Libalent, we honestly haven't even scratched the surface of that. And maybe with more time, with more practice, with more experience against these teams, they will be able to go further, because that's the thing. All the other teams in this season have either been from Season 1 or Ardian, who were mostly made up of former Mighty AOD members and Apex players who have got that same kind of like major scale tournament experience. Libalent, on the other hand, for all the results they have received in Japan, this has kind of been the first opportunity to really step up into this level of tournament. That's why you almost want to see them come back, because they'll come back with the wealth of experience they gained in this time. And if not, then they do go back to Japan with that same wealth of experience to really push the level forward there. And maybe one day there will be a Japanese team that makes it into this tournament and really gives these teams a run for their money.
And that's the hope that you have for Libalent Supreme now moving forward as well. And what they have earned is a good rest as they head back to Japan after the season concludes, returning home with Hotari there to meet them. All 7 of the members. That sounds like a nice ending, actually.
Yeah.
You know,
7 samurai. And you got to actually mention that because you did bring that up there. Hotare, of course, did end up getting substituted out at some point there with Ryan, and a lot of that was Hotare needed to kind of step away from things, and they had this really big kind of
went back to
change up.
university, actually.
Exactly, yeah. So they had this really big kind of change up because it wasn't a straight swap out for him and Ryan. They moved Pepper over to that DPS role, brought Ryan into the Tracer role, and mid-season, a team that was already at the bottom of the table had to suddenly re-coalesce as a team. So actually their performances have still been commendable, but it is Mega taking home the victory. Let's hear some words from them now.
it's going to be DPS player White representing Mega.
Please say hi to our fans.
안녕하세요. 저는
好，看得出来他非常的害羞，没有关系。
메가 썬더의 화이트 최준형이라고 합니다.
他说：“大家好，我是 Mega 的 White。”
哦，有，真的非常的害羞，完成了自我介绍部分。接下来想要请教他一下，因为这场比赛是以3比0击败对手，也为自己的第2个赛季呢是画下一个完整的句点了。那想请问他说，这个赛季有没有什么样的想法，或是对自己的表现有
What kind
没有
of
什么新
thoughts
的跟
in
大家
general
分
do
享
you have about the season?
저는 저한테 잘했다고 생각하진 않아요.
他说他觉得他自己并没有做得很好
I。feel like I didn't play that well this season.
어디요?
Why is that?
그냥 뭐 제가 만족하진 못했어요.
他说是他自己对自己还不满意啦，就觉得
I'm
自己
just
还
not
没
really
有到，
impressed
就是
with the
非常
level that I was able
这
to
赛季
display.
后
I
段
feel
其
like
实
I've
坏的
got
表现还
more
蛮
to
亮的，
show
应该是
still.
谦虚啦，谦虚。
对，谦虚啊，坏的你好，我想问一下哈，就是韩国有很多种炸鸡嘛，对不对？那台湾
So Korea has a lot of fried
但
chicken.
是
Taiwan has a lot of
有没有
fried
觉得
chicken.
你吃的比较习惯的？
대만에서도
How do you
치킨
find
많은데 혹시 약간
the fried chicken
대만에서
here?
먹어본 치킨이나 약간 제일 마음에 드신 거 있으세요? 대만에서.
대만에서 치킨을 많이 안 먹어봐서. 네.
他说他没有在台湾没有吃过，就是很多炸
He
鸡。
says he hasn't
他不太
tried
知
the
道
fried chicken in
真的假的？
Taiwan yet.
对，一个都没有尝试过吗？一个都没有尝试过。
한 번도
Have you had
안
any?
드셔봤나요? 치킨이요.
한국 치킨 같은 치킨 먹어볼게요.
啊，对他说他没有吃过，就是像韩国那样的炸鸡。
He says he actually hasn't had that much even in Korea.
그러면 대만식 그런 치킨은 드셔봤어요? 대만, 그러니까 한국 치킨이랑 달리, 네.
그냥
抱歉，好像太为难。
好，看起来好像是没有尝试
So
到
it seems
台湾
like,
式的咸酥鸡啊，真的太可惜了
应该。是没有尝试
对，
过。
看看是
little
等
bit
一下
difficult to
有
answer
机
that
会的话，
question.
大家去尝试一下，说不定咸酥鸡也可能
So
会
we
获
hope
得它
you
的
have a
喜欢
chance to
对
try out
吃
chicken.
过这个
啊，好，再来就是我知道我们2个国家都有中秋节这个习俗。那台湾这边有一个很特别的民俗，就是会烤肉。
So there's a specific holiday that we kind of share between the two
计
countries.
划要
And
就
there's
是
one
队伍结
where
束之后要做个烤肉之类
there's
的。
one in Korea where there's some sort of barbecue meat that you have as tradition. So is that something
you
guys might look to have or do?
잘 모르겠는데 곧 저희가 태국으로 다시 돌아가서 할지는 모르겠는데 하면 좋겠네요.
他说就是这一次还不太知道啦，就是在台湾会不会
I'm
烤
not
肉，
really
但
sure
是因为
yet
他们
if,
马上就要回韩国，
we're not
回泰
doing
国
anything.
了嘛，对不对？
But
所以可能回
the team is actually
会烤吧
returning to
哦，了解了解。
to
那
Thailand
我想
pretty
再
soon.
顺便了解一下，韩国有没有类似比较特殊、别人不知道的中秋节的习俗
Is
之类的？
there any particular things about Korea that you'd like
한국에서는
to share that's
추석에
kind of different
그냥 아마
compared to Taiwan, maybe in
아마 대만이랑
terms
똑같이
of the
그냥
holidays or the festivals or?
그 시골이나 따로 사는 부모님 댁에 가서 그냥 뭐 같이 밥 먹고 그런 문화예요.
他说就是在韩国啊，可能就是跟台湾一样吧，就是会回家
So
团
it's
圆
pretty similar
啊，然后
to
大家一
Taiwan.
起吃饭什么，就是
Everyone
所
goes
以就是那
home
种
for a
返乡潮
holiday.
会非
Everyone
常
has
非常可
food
怕。
together.
了解了解。
好，那最后一个问题是因为今天呢是我们例行赛的最后一场比
So
赛，
today is the last
那
day
有没有什
competition
么话想要对
for the
支
regular
持你
season.
们的粉丝们说呢？
Is there any final words you'd like to say to the fans and audience?
혹시 응원해 주시는 팬이 있으면 감사하다고 말하고 싶네요.
他说就是要是真的有他的粉丝的话，就是他
If
想要
there
对他的
really
粉
are
丝
my
们说声
fans,
谢谢。
I'd like to
谢
say
谢，也
thank
谢
you
谢
to
快
my
乐接
fans.
受我们的访问，再次把掌声给我们的快乐，谢谢，谢谢快乐接受我们访问。
There it
好的，也
is.
再次恭喜
Well,
我们
I've
的
got to say,
The close off for Mega and
Yeah.
after the completion of the season, and there you have it.
got to say, I hope White never goes to Kentucky. I feel like it would be wasted on him. Just in all seriousness. But look, there you have
Look,
it.
I would
It's,
have, I would have had a really detailed answer.
You would have had a lot
I'm
to say
a
about
purveyor
yeah,
of
fried
fried chicken.
chickens.
I
Exactly.
really know what I'm talking about. So I was just like the specific texture.
A
of this
connoisseur,
on the.
as it were. Well,
I like a wine tasting, like a
like-
chicken taste.
like you're like eating the fried skin, like oaky on the nose. Very easy palate. Well, look. Jeez, man. That's been mega. That's been mega. That's been mega. And of course, Libalent Supreme both having their final appearance of OPC Season 2. And it was mega securing themselves a well-earned 3-0. Going out with a bang, as it were. And we look forward to seeing them come Season 3. Maybe we will see Libalent again. Maybe we won't. Only time would tell. But we are not done just yet tonight.
Exactly, Ardian and Flash Wolves, the title card match still yet to come up, so don't go anywhere. That one's going to be extremely exciting. The number 1 team facing off against the number 2 team and OPC Season 2, maybe even a preview of the finals. OPC Season 2 does continue after this break.